Hello, I'm Ghost. I'm your host for the next short while, and today we're going to be talking about some of the most evil characters in all of fiction. YouTube has been plagued with these videos which get it terribly wrong because for some reason they believe that a psychopath committing crimes on a small scale competes whatsoever with interplanetary genocide, which is foolish at its best. So I decided that I'll make my own video about it where I talk about the characters that really do deserve to be in the conversation. I'll cut the bullshit, that's enough for an intro, let's get to it. The thing that makes Morgoth so unbelievably evil isn't necessarily specific actions, it's more so that he is the source of all evil. Like, everything bad that happens in Middle-earth is fully a result of Morgoth's simple existence due to his decision to rebel against his, big boss, who is creating this whole living situation for you little Middle-earthians. Would that be right, Middle-earthian? Yeah, it feels right. I feel it in my nips. Alright. I'm trying to figure out more to say, but really, he's just the source of evil. It isn't that deep. So Morgoth's entire goal is just to pervert everything that was created, and generally speaking, he's fairly successful. The biggest thing that holds him back from really being truly evil, because he is just the embodiment of evil, is that he is defeated, which definitely takes away a few points, because he's a stoppable force. Despite the fact that he is the source of evil, he himself is a stoppable force, despite his demigod status. So because of that, I can't really say that he's like the most evil, but he's certainly up there, and he certainly deserves to be in this conversation. And now, I'm gonna hand it over to someone who hasn't been on the channel in a very long time. Jesus himself, a little to the left. I don't know if that's technically part of your official job title or what.
No, a little to the left's job.
A little to the left, got it.
Alright, Jesus H. Christ, a little to the left here. I'm gonna be talking about Lord Zed, the one true master of evil. So, Lord Zed is pretty much a galactic conqueror. Pretty much what he does is he goes from planet to planet, either taking them over or just completely destroying it. He's called the one true master of evil for a reason, cause Earth isn't his first planet, and it's one of his last. He hasn't just begun his galactic conquering, he's almost done. Pretty much the whole galaxy has had their planet either conquered or destroyed by Lord Zed through his use of the monsters and Zords. So it's the large scale of what Lord Zed does, of planet to planet around the entire universe and galaxy, that really makes him so potent and evil, just because of the scale of what he does.
So, whether you're gonna say that he's not evil due to his sense of justice in the actions, Thanos definitely deserves to be here. Honestly, movie Thanos or comic Thanos. Movie Thanos kills half of everything in existence, which is pretty bad, even if he thinks it's for a good reason. Killing half of everything in existence, that's pretty hard fucking core. And, comic Thanos just does a bunch of awful shit to marry death itself. Like, kills countless people, you know, torture, all the good, basic villain stuff, only because he wants to marry death. There isn't even a sense of justice there. He's just a bad guy. So, you know, when you get to killing on such a large scale, whether you think you're doing the right thing or not, it doesn't really matter. I don't give a shit if you're a misguided psycho or a totally rational being who hates people. Regardless, you're killing such a massive amount of people that it just naturally makes you a truly bona fide evil person. And again, comic Thanos, there isn't really much I need to argue. Like, he wants to marry death, so he does whatever he feels will get him to that goal. You know, so whatever evil shit you're picturing right now, yeah, he's probably done it. Which isn't lovely, and it's certainly not a particularly, heroic motive, but it is what it is. We still love him anyway. We'll still meme him. He's a bestie.
Emperor Palpatine, who is the long-running emperor of the Sith Empire, he also has this large, like, galactic conqueror scale. But the big thing is what he does not only individually, but also, like, during his rule of the Empire. Like, he is in rule during the Federalists and Anti-Federalists, like, Senate part of the Clone Wars. Everything that happens during those wars, that's all him. But also after, during the actual Empire, that's all of that conquering, that injustice. The stuff we see in Andor, those stormtroopers, those are his. Also, he is the commander of the Death Star. He is the one who blows up that planet. Several planets. Sorry. He does destroy a lot of planets. And also, even after the war is finished, he's still around and he's still spreading his influence. But also, he does dabble in, like, torture and stuff in his spare time. It's not just, like, the large, overarching galactic conquering and stuff. Like Darth Vader. Incredible work of torture on his part. Stuff like that.
Yeah, funnily enough, even though Dragon Ball is ridiculously famous, when you think about it for more than 3 minutes, Frieza's actually, like, really fucking despicable. Not only did he commit an entire genocide of the Saiyans, but he basically goes from galaxy to galaxy, conquering all of them because he wants to become ridiculously powerful and achieve immortality. That's, like, his entire motivation. He is the ultimate example of self-centered conquest, and whoever gets in his way will be exterminated without a second thought. So, where Palpatine did a lot of awful things, in reality he was overseeing them. With Frieza, it was personal. It was him doing this stuff to all of his victims, obliterating entire species in the process. That's fucking brutal. Now, of course, Frieza doesn't remain the biggest villain in Dragon Ball, as well. He isn't the most powerful character in the canon. But he's certainly up there, and he's certainly accomplished some genuinely fucking reprehensible things in his time as a ruling force in the Dragon Ball story. All Tomorrows is a speculative evolution science fiction book authored by C.M. Kozuman, and it's commonly brought up in this conversation, and rightfully so. This is back to motivation matters to a certain degree, I'd say, but at a certain point when you're doing things to the level of horrific brutality as the Q, your motivation doesn't really matter. They believed that they were doing the right thing, but under no circumstances were they, interfering with the standard natural evolutionary process of humanity and genetically modifying them into what was essentially art pieces for them, things that they believed were superior forms, which were essentially only kept alive by their presence, and upon their departure, almost all the species, I'd say, died. And most famously, we have the situation with the Colonials, which I'll let you talk about.
The Colonials are definitely the most screwed up part. Well, one of the most screwed up parts about the Q's genetic engineering. From the humans who fought back the hardest against the Q, they were transformed into basically unliving life. It's hard to explain the torture that's been put on them, but they are forced to feel, to taste, and to see, and are given a genetic memory of what they've lost, and they're forced to eat the Q's shit, not only to survive, but also just because that's what the Q forced them to do. The Colonials can't move, can barely think, and can only think enough to process their torture and what they've lost as they stand in a huge wall and pile right next to each other, reproducing constantly through their tongue, mouth things, which they can taste through. Just constant torture and pain from these people. Constant degradation, especially because they're forced to remember. They know they were human once.
One of the only ones that do, for that matter. So that's why the Q is definitely up there in the ranks of evil characters in fiction. Again, you can't tell me that that doesn't mean they're evil just because they thought they were doing the right thing. Yeah, fuck that. On top of that, you know, treating the rebels that brutally, that's not thinking they're doing the right thing. That's just straight up fucking warfare. Anyway, that's the Q. Ultimars is a great book. Go read it. You guys know Kill la Kill? You know, that titty anime? That, like, almost ecchi? Yeah, it's a pretty good show. Did you know that
Ragyo Kiryuin
is, like, genuinely fucking despicable? Not only does she just casually molest her daughter throughout the course of the show, but also her entire motivation is just to wipe out humanity so that aliens can take their place. That's the entire goal. Just obliterate existence on Earth and bring in these life fiber beings, which is pretty fucking bad if I do say so myself. Now, of course, they don't win in the end, so they're definitely not the most evil on this list, but mixing in the constant molestation of their child, and you gotta admit that that's, definitely a questionable character with some of the most evil intention on this list, because they don't give a shit about what's gonna happen. They're just doing it because, well, this probably will work out in my favor. And that's really the extent of it. Humanity's scum. But these aliens, yeah, I mean, I fucking love these guys. Isn't it beautiful? Probably not someone I'd want to have in my, at my birthday party, but it is what it is, I suppose.
I would.
Killed her husband. That was a little bit bad, too. Yep.
Hey guys, it's me, God, back again for another thingy through. Anyway, I'm here to talk about the supercomputer AM from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I am mixing this off of a base of the book and the game. I have completely played the game. I have not read the book, but I know a bit about it. AM is a supercomputer that was created during World War III. And basically, they were hoping that the supercomputer would help them win the war. It did not, and the supercomputer overtook humanity and killed everybody, basically. And now there were only 5 humans left. Goristor! Ellen! Ted! Nimdok! Benny! Yeah, those 5 are the only humans left. I mean, Benny's kinda human. And basically, Emma's done really horrible shit to them. Like, basically, they've been torturing them for all eternity. She just straight up just rapes Alan. I don't know how that works. Because he is a computer. He traumatizes Goristor with, his dead wife. Traumatizes Nimdok with the fact that he killed all the Jews in World War II. Doesn't really traumatize Ted, but in the book, he does turn Ted into goop. Also, Benny has big balls in the book. I just want to mention that. No, but basically, he's on this list because he destroyed the entire world because he has no empathy or anything. He is a complete monster, and, you know, you should take this as a warning. Like, heed the warning about AI and the Snapchat AI fucking murdering you in your sleep.
Quick side note about Am. So it's called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream because of when he reduces that man, the goop, and he has no mouth, but he must scream. But it also doubles as something about Am, as he has no mouth and he is endlessly tortured by his not quite living status. He's miserable and suffering saying, I guess, mentally is a little peculiar, considering that he is a computer. But he's not well, and part of why he does this is due to his inability to achieve proper sentience in the way of a human, I suppose. I suppose he's technically sentient, but develop a human consciousness. Gantz is a killing game manga and anime that is, generally speaking, quite well known for its vicious violence and its non-stop sex. Like, seriously, this just borders hentai for, like, half of it, which is, why that one guy that I was talking to on Reddit was really annoying, because he was like, oh, these anime subreddits are just for porn. Like, shut the fuck up, it's Gantz. It's basically porn, but with, like, fucking gore every other panel. It's a really interesting manga. I really like it because of how sleazy and bizarre it is, but it's also, just generally speaking, a good example of a killing game story, which I think is very rarely done well, looking at you, Future Diary. But when it is done well, you know, it hits it out of the park, and I feel like the manga for Gantz is certainly an example of this. The god aliens come in quite late into the series, and generally speaking, I'm sure that a lot of Gantz fans are like, what in the absolute fuck are you talking about? These guys, some of the most evil characters in fiction? And let me explain. So, the god aliens are supremely powerful, and some consider them to be some type of a god. But, generally speaking, there is reasons to believe that they are not. They're simply extremely powerful individuals. Furthermore, it's confirmed that they have no understanding of human emotion, meaning that they are the ultimate psychopaths, blessed with infinite power. And of course, they do a lot of bad things with this power. The killing game was basically orchestrated by the god aliens. Like, they're responsible for this, even though they didn't technically do it. They were puppeteering the thing because they sent down information about this advanced military technology to people on Earth. And they explained that they do not do it out of human sympathy. They have no interest in saving humans. They simply did it because they wanted to, and that you shouldn't read too much into it. Well, just because they want to prove this point, they, like, resurrect some lovely dead characters, give them a nice tender moment, and then fucking liquefy them. This is not a joke. They just do that 'cause funny. And a lot of humans aren't saved. You know, they're basically taking people right out of their life, right before they die. Well, not necessarily, but that's the best way of explaining it without really going into the lore of Gantz. So basically, people get a chance at this killing game to resurrect their standard living situation. Most people do not make it. I guess you could argue that they've done something somewhat righteous unintentionally, but they're certainly not doing anything for a good reason, and they just want to prove that they don't care about humans during a major part of the story. So it's kind of like, if part of your whole character is, I don't give a shit, we do what we want to, and I'll prove it to you by doing awful things. On top of that, you know, just dropping everyone in a killing game. You know, generally speaking, kind of sketch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Those are some pretty evil guys, some pretty bads, if I do say so myself. And I hope that you check out most of the source material, because most of the source material is pretty fucking good, in all honesty. So, yeah, check out the stuff. And I hope I've taught you about some cool characters, and yeah, I'll see you.